Hi, everybody. I just wanted to say welcome to you all. This is Wellness Wednesdays, and I am here today. We're sharing, and hi, we just want to share with you today, talk about soil and talk about growing greener. And we're talking about going greener and getting healthier. And with that said, I'm going to invite our guest on and just a little bit about him. He's like one of my favorites. And I started out listening to some of the little tips that he would give, and I would just be like, wow, this is like mind blowing. And I just started just with a little seed. So without further ado, this is Wells of Wellness, and we're going to talk about the greener and healthier side of life. So this feature is Go Green and Eat Healthier. So I'm going to bring on our guest. Our guest is Big City Gardener, and we're going to bring him in, and hopefully you enjoy this session, because if you have any questions, hit the question converse in the conversation, and just add us there. Okay, let's just bring him in now. Let's see what we can do here. So today's topic is Go Green and Eat Healthier. Hopefully everybody has eaten healthier since they've gone green. That's the whole point, key of today. Okay. And wow. I don't know if he got his invitation yet. Oh, there we go. There we go. Let's wait for him to come in. And while he's popping in, hi! I'm a number one fan. Oh my gosh. I feel like starstruck right now. I'm starstruck right now. He's literally been on TV and everything, guys. And you were one of my first green, from brown to green thumb. You were one of my first features that I actually followed and started listening to a lot of the little tidbits, because I started with the thyroid. My husband and I have thyroid, and we started just growing seeds. He started buying stuff from Home Depot here and there, and I started just doing little seeds. And you gave tips on that, on soil texture, and I was like watering down my stuff a lot, and the seeds would die. So I just started listening, and next thing you know, I had a tomato plant, I had some pineapple sage, I had some catnip, and so it turned into what you see on Wells of Wellness. And my whole key about what I do is I like targeting health, and going green just kind of falls right into that, organics and farming. So I thought, why not just mash them all up together, and let's just have a discussion about what that really means, especially in today's society with like mental health issues, emotional issues, with trauma with the body, things that they're not even finding out until like right now with women's health, for men's health. So we can just get into the whole dirty scope of things, and let's talk about soil, let's talk about the new stuff. So starting with you, introducing the Big City Gardener, guys. This is Timothy Hammond, and I'm a super fan. I'm trying to calm down a little bit, but tell us a little bit about what got you started. What got you started?
Um, well, I would say that I've always enjoyed gardening. Well, first, can you hear me?
I can. I can hear you well.
Cool. All right. So I've always enjoyed gardening, and it's always been a passion of mine. My parents are big gardeners. Both of them, my dad and my mom, still to this day love to garden. So I don't know. I think they kind of pushed me out into it, right? Not even knowing that's what they were doing. They pushed me out into it by just, I don't know, really introducing it to me when I was younger.
Oh.
But then as far as like Big City Gardener, this all started because of a good friend of mine by the name of Chance Foreman.
Oh,
He's
cool.
really the reason why I even got on Instagram or anything like that. If it wasn't for him, I would not be here.
Super. Wow. Wow. So when you started gardening, did you start like with a seed, or did you start with things like were your favorites? I honestly, as a beginner and 3 years and a half in, I always tell people the best way to start is start with something you love to eat. Something simple, something that you love to eat,
Right.
because when you love to eat it, you'll take care of it, right?
Right.
So
I agree 100%.
so that's where I started. So I started with tomato seeds and lemon
Okay.
seeds. And I literally have dwarf lemon trees from starting from a seed. And it was because I cared enough, because I wanted to see the lemons. So I nurtured it and everything. So I have one question that to start out, that a lot of people ask me, what's the biggest mistake when it comes to gardening that you hear about? Like the number one.
Trying to be perfect. Trying to be perfect.
Wow.
It's like you get, especially things with Instagram and things, right? You get on Instagram and you see people and they post amazing gardens, or they post amazing harvests.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then if you're just getting started, that can kind of knock you down, right? Or discourage
Intimidate.
you from wanting to continue this path. So I would just say,
Yeah.
the main thing that I see people doing is worrying about what the next person is doing.
Oh wow. That's a good one.
Like your garden should just be for you. Everything related to your gardening and gardening you should just have you or your family, your health in mind.
Right.
But it's not a matter of, let me put this on the gram, let me put this on YouTube or whatever it may be.
Right. So it's not about the grandiose imagery of what a garden is supposed to look like, because it's about what it looks like to you.
Right, because there is no real answer.
Right.
Like your garden doesn't look like my garden. It's not going to look like whoever's just hopped in's garden. So as soon as you understand and realize that, then you'll just have a great time with it.
That's the key word. Time. A great time. So it's really, yeah, because it's time consuming and it's a healing, it's therapeutic. So when you start it from the heart, for you or for people you love, you tend to have more passion about it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because for us, when we started with just our issues, our health issues, it kind of grew into, wow, I like to see from a seed that gets that tall. Wow, I actually grew it to 20 freaking leaves. Whoa, it's a tree right now. And then you can say, I did that. But the intimidation factor is a big thing. I went through that during COVID, when I was like not showing up and trying to see what it looked like for me in my garden. Has there ever been a point in time where you kind of hiccuped and felt like, not that there's nothing to do, but that what's the next thing that I'm going to be projecting?
Not to me, because to me this is like a happy space.
Yeah.
Right? So like I have zero expectations when I come out into a garden. I don't care if I don't grow anything. I don't care if everything gets eaten by bugs or pests. Like it's not, to me, it's never about the outcome.
Okay.
Right? I'm just coming out here every single day and just having a good time.
Wow, not about the outcome. I like that.
Wow.
Just have.
No, it can't be. It can't be, because, well, I mean, it can be to some people, but
Yeah.
If you're worried about the outcome, then you're missing the entire journey.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. That's very true. You have to keep it personal. You have to keep it personal and structured, because that's where you hone in and that's what brings you back to it. So, and speaking about bringing you back to it and honing in, let's talk about family, because a lot of the things, I know that for a fact that what you're saying is absolutely accurate. And I love the hiccups that you go through in the garden, like bugs and stuff. Now, I'm a famous person for bugs. I've always been that kid that would sit down literally on the ground and watch the ants, like for hours. It was crazy, but they fascinated me. Just their structure and their focus and their harmony, their teamwork, everything about that little creature fascinated the crap out of me. And I would literally watch them. And some parts on some of my Instagram, I have one where borage seeds were falling and replanting themselves. And they got together and was like trying to push up a literal a vertical line up a pole up one of my plants, and it was like 20 of them trying to push this seed up, and it would fall down. They keep pushing, and I videoed that. It fascinated the crap out of me. So teamwork helps the dream work, and the bugs kind of keep you educated. And it's okay if you flub, because there's no perfect way to do it. It's a learning curve. It's about not experience, but what you're bringing from your heart to get something out of it, not always a result.
Right, and I don't think it's ever a flub. I think everything is a result of like what you're supposed to do, what's supposed to happen, and kind of what you put into it.
Wow.
So I think if you don't have a good garden, well, then you just have, I mean, like if you don't have a good harvest, then you just work backwards and ask yourself, why didn't I have a good harvest? Well, maybe I wasn't in the garden, or maybe I didn't write down and take notes when I planted what I planted. I mean, like, yeah, so I'm just saying that I don't necessarily think that there are flubs. Everything is a result of something else.
Right. Wow. So in that zone, we're going to talk about family, because I love to see the pictures where the kids are in the garden and squirting and hosing all over the place and trying to get back to focus like bunny, or butterfly. And I love to see that in the garden, because you're involving everybody, and everybody has a different perspective. I know you have what, 2 or 3 children?
I have 2.
You have 2. Okay, a girl and a boy, right? I know that they like different things in the garden.
Yes.
And so when people come into the garden, they direct themselves to what they gravitate to. How do you keep your gardening perspectives involving your children in the gardening? Are your kids the strong part of it? And what aspect of it is that?
Well, as far as the kids, I let them do whatever they want, right? Because to me, again, it's about every. Look, if you want, in my opinion, if I want my kids to like what it is that I do, then I'm not going to go out here and coach you, instruct you. You have to do this, you have to do that. Like you said, they're drawn to different things. Yeah. So I let them go and explore. Let them be drawn to what they're drawn to. And then once I see what they're drawn to, all right, well, now I can try to, hey, if you do it like this might be better for you, or something along those lines. But for the most part, when it comes to the kids, or when it comes to my kids at least, like the garden should be for them the same thing it is for me, just a way to escape everything you've had to do all day. They've been doing schoolwork, they've been reading, writing, whatever it may be. So now you get to go outside, and while you may be used to recess running around, this is just another form of recess.
Wow. And learning, and I call it my free space, like on the bingo board. You get that free space, you can claim it for anything. It's like, if I just want to escape, if I want to cry, if I want to do whatever, if I want to just go crazy, I just go to that free space, because it's like it's an unadulterated and unjudgmental, a non-judgmental zone, where you can always go to, and it gives back. It always gives back. One question that one of my audiences asked me to ask you was that, talking about soil, I love that when you do a lot of the experiments with something, like you recently did the potatoes, like potato, but potato in this soil and potato in this barrel or tub. Which one is going to be better off? I just use the same soil, same fermentation process, same watering time calendar, and these are the results. Same sun, same everything. It's just about the area of square footage that you use for them to grow. So the results were slightly different in the size or result of it. And so, speaking of containers, what would be the more optional thing to use as far as I call it permaculture, and maybe it's something else because I'm not super termed when it comes to I'm not a super gardener. I'm not big city gardener. So all of that hay and all that alfalfa hay they call it, and mulch people use, and what is a good option? Because one lady contacted me and she said, I have a problem with rats. They're running over my stuff and they're chewing the nubs of some of the melons and the vine plants. If it's not the vine borer, it's the rats that are chewing off where it can actually sprout. Is that plant dead? Because we know that it bulbs from that source. So is it dead? Because sometimes you wonder if it's going to ever fruit again.
I think it just depends on the size of the plant when the rats or whatever the animal is attacks it. Right? So if it's already established and they just eat, if it's a vine and the vine has one main vine and then it has a bunch of lateral vines coming off it, if they just eat one of the lateral vines, then the main vine can still grow. But if it's a seedling that doesn't have an established root zone, once it gets the leaves chopped off, it's done.
Yeah, because I've even had problems with that where they take the main vine out, where they chew through it. It'll be hanging like a cucumber, and they take the main vine out, and then it just drops. I mean, is it gone? It's like, okay, because I mean, if it's not the locust, it's the rats. You know what I'm saying? The locusts chew the tendrils, and it can't hold on to anything. And the rats chew the vine and the blooms. So it's like between the two of them, they're just completely destructive. So you wonder if you really have a plant, and it could be at any stage of life or growth. I tend to let it go on, and I kind of pinch, and I do surgery with my plants. I do surgery and I talk to them, and it's like, okay, you're going to be okay, all that stuff. So, and it's just kind of funny, but sometimes they come back. And I'm gonna tell you, in my garden, I pray over things a lot because I've had some serious stuff happen, and like when it comes back, it's like, wow, I didn't even know you were alive. I was about to give you the axe, So you wonder what is the result of what you should keep and what you shouldn't keep. You know what I'm saying? And what you should continue plant and not plant. So another question that someone asked me, and I'd like to know what you do, is rotation. You do a lot of rotation. And is it rotation that, okay, this bed was this, and thus, and so this year I'm going to do something else altogether. And I might take some of what was in this bed and put it in another bed. But is that bed a complete rotation, or do you leave one or change them all? What's important there?
I probably don't follow the rules of crop rotation like other people do. I believe there's a guy on IG by the name of Marco.
That's my boy. That's my man. He is. I talked to him the other day. Yeah, I ask him questions all the time. I love his chemistry mind. Oh my gosh, he's like a mad scientist in a bucket.
So it's like I don't practice as much crop rotation as a bunch of other people may say you should do, because I believe that something Marco also says, if you go out in nature when seeds fall, then you said forage, right? You have a forage plant growing. Forage drops the seeds, it's going to continue to grow
there it
in
is.
the same space. Mm-hmm. Maybe some seeds get blown around, but for the most part, it's in the same spot.
Right.
So I don't necessarily practice much crop rotation. I just try to make sure that after I grow something, I put more life back into the soil, whether it's compost or any sort of slow release organic fertilizer. But I would say the only time I might practice crop rotation is in the event that, let's say I'm growing something like tomatoes and they end up having a bad season in a specific bed, then I normally will not plant them in that same bed again. Okay. I'll come back and plant something else.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of my rule. I like the no rules barred, the no rules thing, the game, but the actual fact that you keep in mind of what worked and what didn't work and how I'm going to deal with this. And also, it's just the whole way through, it's an educational process, and it's fun while being educated. So I just thought that that was awesome where you did the potatoes, and they came out. You had some. I think one came out smaller and one than the other ones.
Yeah, I grew. I think if we're talking about the same experiment, I grew same weight of potatoes in raised beds versus in ground beds.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
raised beds produced larger potatoes than the in ground beds, but they ended up weighing basically the same the amount.
So the same that so it was the same weight amount, but the size was just different.
Yeah, the size was a little different. So in the raised bed, there were some larger potatoes that I got out of the ground bed.
Interesting.
I mean, like, I don't know. The size of the potato doesn't actually
It
matter.
doesn't.
When it comes time to eat it, if I have to eat two small potatoes versus one big potato,
Exactly. Exactly. Now, a very minor thing that people ask me, well, when should I water my plants? And should I water everything at the same time? I say no. I say no. And the main reason is my husband drives me crazy when it comes to this. He takes the wand and he's like, I'm going to water the garden. I'm like, don't touch this, and this area, and only do that and this. Okay. And that's what I have to tell him, because he has a tendency to water like the catnip and the celery overhead, or certain or nettles overhead. And I'm like, that's a no, because they'll get fungus. You don't do the squash like that because they'll get fungus all on them. When the heat wave comes, we got all kinds of aphids, and you wonder why the gnats are harvesting in the soil. It's because of that. And so he doesn't get it all the time. So we get into it with, this is your zone. You worry about the dwarf plants, and I'll worry about the babies, because and I'll just talk to everything in the garden. So it's like the watering system. We don't have an irrigation, mainly because we're renters, but we decided that on the rotation, that a lot of things is like every 3 days for the larger, depending on temperature. And I think because we have pots, so we don't have like super beds like tall raised. We have lower beds that kind of sometimes tap into the soil source. So it makes a difference how rich the soil would be to produce. So that has a lot to do with how often you have to water it. So I say to people, my answer is, it just depends. I'm like you. It really just depends on what climate or zone you're in, what plant it is, and how you're watering it.
Yeah, I agree. There's no right answer for how often to water. I mean, plants need a certain amount of water, and some plants do better with deeper watering, longer watering.
Yeah.
But I mean, how often, like you said, it depends on those other factors.
Yeah.
If you're growing in containers, you're going to have to water your garden more often
Right.
than if you're growing in a raised bed or an in-ground bed.
Yeah, exactly. And for us in pots individually, I actually have to do, okay, it's like I'm in school with all my plants. It's like, okay, uh, uh verbena here, check. When have you gotten watered? So it's like they're going here, no, absent. And it's like you have to run a rotation on how often and how frequent you do things. And the one thing I love is when you rotate stuff, whenever we rotate stuff with the good. So when you enrich that soil again for your new crop, you always get some remnant of what was previously in that bed, sooner or later. And that's the beauty in gardening, where you can just pop it out and put it someplace else to have its own independent space. Or just like borage, like you said, on the forest floor, let it fall apart. Just let it fall down. It'll make its own home in space. So one thing that I was kind of torn between was culture, like microbes, how to get them into your soil without always being in the liquid form. And Marco is growing. He does a lot of that out of box thinking. And I don't have a forest that I can access. So my big question for, I'm sure for our audience, they love, everybody wants good soil, but not everybody has good soil that they're going to tap into. Like California soil sucks. It's the worst. So you really have to enrich your soil or know what you're doing when it comes to a balance of what you're growing and your soil, right? That's just, to me, common sense. But I don't have a forest to access. Would it be okay if, let's say, I went to a nice park to walk and I was doing fitness that day? And it's like, oh, the plants here are beautiful. And I see an oak tree and I see a eucalyptus and it looks healthy. Is that considered microbes to bring into your garden? Or it depends on how it's treated?
So, I mean, yes, you would find microbes there. Anywhere there's grass, soil, trees, plants, get microbes, you can catch those microbes. If you look, I think the goal is just to get local microbes that are in your area to your soil. So whether it's you catch them yourself through the whole IMO method with rice, out rice in boxes, or whether you, I mean, look, an easier way to do it would just be to go to a local soil yard that gets tree waste from all of the local arborists, and you'll get great soil that has local microbes that way.
Oh, okay, cool. That's interesting because I was thinking of collecting my own, and I was like, okay, I can't go to Yellowstone Park and go grab it. I see Marco doing that all the time. He's like, this is cool, get the microbes in the forest. I'm like, I don't have exactly access to a forest, but I love the idea. I love the
I
idea.
don't have a forest either. I don't have a forest either, but I just go to wherever. So I go down to the bayou. To be honest, there's bayous all around me, and those bayous have big, massive trees. And Marco always says, wherever you see big trees, big, strong microbes grow big, strong trees. So I head on over to whatever forested, wooded area I can find. But no, I don't have access to a forest or anything like that either.
That's what I love.
He's in Virginia with that old growth.
I'm serious.
Down here in Texas, flatland.
Yeah. And I'm in California. Now, I'm from the East Coast. I'm from Washington, D.C. Now, that's totally urban. But I get the Virginia. Why he's like always somewhere out in the woods somewhere. He's always out there. He's got big trees everywhere. And it's just fun to just watch him just walk around. I feel like he's like, Daniel Boone or something sometimes. I mean, he just cracks me up just like you watch him because you don't know what he's going to do. And the good thing about it is he triggers, just like you do. You trigger things. Like I thought to myself, if this is a great concept, maybe the audience it could be helpful for them. I even thought about like mushrooms, rice water, and just like vinegar and like old microbes from like some local park that's got some beautiful trees, and like just see what happens from that and just start making it from that. That was just to me an experiment. And what happened is our tomatoes are giants now. That's what happened when I started injecting it, multiplying that and watering it with it. They just turned into like literally like 7 feet tall trees in the yard.
You put good life, putting life into the soil.
Yeah. So
there's many different ways to put the life in the soil.
Yeah, exactly. So all this conversation mainly is from my perspective about health. So the goal is just like our topic this pin is go green and eat healthier. So the whole purpose of having a garden is to be healthier, to be more aware of how you're consuming your foods and what they're doing to your body. I personally I'm a master wellness coach, and I like to talk about the inside of the body. I like to talk about what poop looks like. Hey, it's just a topic, right? And how healthy you can be just looking at and just being what you're consuming. What you're consuming is a part of your diet. So what you grow and put in is what comes out. So that's my whole thing, including your skin and everything. So that being said, have you noticed any type of health issues dissipating? I don't care if it was a pimple that you had, you know. Have you noticed that, okay, my teeth are stronger, my calcium, I'm not cracking when I'm bending as much, because anything with regard to nutrients of gardening, the benefits.
I can't say that I have, right? Because I've always really ate relatively healthy. Like my parents are Jamaican, so we didn't come up with all the McDonald's and the Jack. I didn't do all of that.
Wow.
Came home and it was always salad.
Oh, wow.
But that's just how I grew up. So I can't say that me. I feel like I just kind of continued on that path. So no, I can't answer that question on whether anything that I've has had any benefit on my body, on like the inside. On my wellness. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm sure it has because I know that the food that I grow is more nutrient dense than the food that I can go and purchase from the grocery store. So every time I eat tomato, kale, salad, squash, whatever I'm throwing in my garden, I know that I'm getting a bunch of nutrients in my body. Actual nutrients, not the ones that they just claim or
Right. So, final question, and we're going to let you go because I've had you on here for a half an hour and I'm not going to snatch all your time from fam. So, last question is about being married and in the garden. I think of His Eden because I trademarked His Eden. So that's what I call this space, His Eden. And I think of Adam and Eve. In bliss, do you feel that it brings a marriage together just like the harmony of plants?
I would say it really depends on the people, right? Because this is a hobby that I like, or a man may like, a woman like, that doesn't mean that their partner will get the same enjoyment from it. I'm sure that there's things my wife likes to do that I don't want any parts of.
Okay. True. You don't want to go shopping on Tuesdays. I get it.
I sure don't. Any day.
Okay.
I think if it's not, if we don't necessarily look at it like it's a hobby, and we look at it like this is something we're doing for our health, and we can get healthy from this in some way, I think that the garden has something for everybody. So it may not be your significant other may not have any interest in growing food, but by building a garden, you may have created a space that your significant other wants to just come and sit outside.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Right, so I think that gardening is just a dope way to connect people, and whether you like to grow the food or not, it's just a way to connect people. Somehow, some way, there's no way you can be surrounded by that much green, that much energy, natural beauty, and you not be inspired or relaxed or get something.
Something is a benefit in and of itself.
Yes. And I don't know if it's food or what, but I don't know how your partner could not benefit from the garden in some way as well. And if they don't, then maybe you have the wrong partner.
Right. Because I can tell you that in many ways it is a connect. And I think you should get a t-shirt, by the way. I'm gonna give you a nib. That's a t-shirt. Get what it would you say? Gardening is dope, is dope to connect. That right there. Get a t-shirt for that. I'm inspiring that one. Okay. Gardening is a dope way to connect. I won't even ask for any comment, any profits from that. But just give me a shout out. Let me know. But a nice green or yellow shirt, that's a nice, or brown one. That would be cool. Okay. But thank you for coming. I wanted you to share how people can follow you and how they can reach you and how you can help them as far as better inspiring.
Man, just I'm Big City Gardener on all social media platforms. So, I guess look me up, check it out. Just trying to get more people interested in gardening, right? Because I think the more people we can get interested in gardening, instead of us being like a one-man army, now we have a lot of people behind the same agenda, the same plan, the same topic, and then we can make some real moves in the world.
Oh man, we can make some real change in the world. Well, continue to be dope in gardening. Thank you for inspiring me 3.5 years ago for that little seedling and turning it into his Eden. So I am graciously thankful and thankful that you joined me today. So you have a great day and the rest of the day in your garden. And this is Wells of Wellness, Herbs, Health, and Healing with Tim Hammond and at Big City Gardener. And he's on all channels at Big City Gardener. Take care. Woohoo! That's right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, guys, we just wanted to end that. And I hope you got the benefits of all that conversation because it was absolutely fun. Thanks so much for joining us. And I'm going to look in our thread because I'm going to sponsor a special gift and prize for the person that showed up first. And how many times you have to show up first, and 3 times you have to have been in the chat for at least the entirety of our platform today. So you will get to be announced on Friday who the winner is, and I'll be scrolling through. But follow at Big City Gardener. And these convo questions, hopefully I answered a lot of them. I pulled a couple of previous questions that were sent to me to respond to. If you have more about skin, health, herbs, or healing, or even gardening, or if you have a suggestion on who we should feature on Wellness Wednesdays, send me a DM. This is Tamara Wells of Wells of Wellness, Herbs, Health, and Healing. And thank you so much. And you guys be healed and be healthy and continue to have a brown thumb. Turn it into green. Take care. This is our Go Green and Eat Healthier Serve session. So thanks a lot. Take care, guys. Have a great afternoon. Happy Wednesday. Thanks so much for joining today, everyone. We're going to announce our prize winner on Friday. Let's see who wins the special gift. We're just ending a session here, and I'm just getting some screenshots on our winners for the prize for ending the show. Hope you guessed. I hope you guys enjoyed joining us in this conversation. You can watch the replay if you didn't get to see. You can definitely watch the replay on Go Greener and Eat Healthier. Hi, everybody.